Hey, what's up everyone? Josh Thomas here from TheBitBlock.com to take you through our exciting action-packed video review for The Wonderful 101 on Wii U. Alright, so imagine the most intense action-packed scene in an action movie, then imagine a video game where that crazy final scene is non-stop through the entire experience. I think that basically sums up the gameplay here in The Wonderful 101. It's one heart-pounding battle after the other. There's buildings falling down one right after the other, there's enemies coming from everywhere, lasers, fire, smoke, explosions, you name it, and it's probably happening. The Wonderful 101 is a team of superheroes who naturally fend off evil from destroying the planet. You do this by taking on different morph abilities, which then translate to different weaponry. By drawing a shape on the gamepad's touchscreen, you can form into a giant fist, a sword, there's a gun, a whip, a hammer, and more. You can also use the right analog stick to create these shapes as well. Because you're always being attacked by enemies, it can kind of become uncomfortable and a bit inconvenient to draw shapes with your finger on the touchscreen. To make your attacks more powerful, you can recruit panicking citizens and transform them into superheroes that become part of your squad. Because the game is basically non-stop action, there are times where I kind of wondered if it's just a bit too much of a good thing. There really aren't many moments where you get a chance to explore and do something other than combat. You can find secret missions, but again, they're kind of focused on bashing enemies, so it's nothing too new or special. The combat in the game definitely takes some getting used to. I found that as I continued to play the game, things started to make more sense. Basically, you'll start to use better techniques, like blocking and dodging and so on. These enemies are by no means easy, and each one of these bad boys needs to be dealt with properly. Knowing which morph attacks to use on every situation is absolutely key to your success. But honestly, there are times when the game feels frustrating and kind of unfair. Off-screen enemies that you can't even see can shoot you, and oftentimes you'll dodge one attack only to be hit by another attack from a nearby robot. Even in the easier modes, it just feels like 5 to 10 enemies quickly attacking you all at once is just a bit too much. It's challenging, but it doesn't always feel fair. If you're willing to deal with a bit of frustration, the gameplay really delivers and offers up some really intense action. Wonderful 101 has a very nice, unique-looking art style going on. It's colorful, and everything really pops. The environments are all well-designed, and for the most part, there's a decent variety to them. Perhaps my favorite thing about the visuals, though, is the fact that every character appears very shiny. It's like they're all super polished up, and they have a cool, glossy appeal to them. I don't know what it is with me and shiny things, but I'm just naturally drawn to them. This is, of course, a superhero game, so obviously it features an insane amount of special effects. They all look very nice and definitely add to the style of the game. But I have to say, sometimes things can get, well, a little bit too busy, and it makes it difficult to tell where you are and just what the heck is going on. I love the superhero designs, and in fact, the civilians that you recruit have some incredibly silly costumes. Alternatively, I'm not too keen on how the enemies look. They're a lot less identifiable, and to me, they just come off as being typical robotic bad guys. Also, as a side note, they have some of the lamest names ever. But in the end, The Wonderful 101 does stand out as being a great-looking game, especially during scenes like this. With all the action, you're going to definitely need some intense music to boost your confidence. And thankfully, The Wonderful 101 has some very authentic, high-quality tracks. It all sounds like it was ripped directly from a superhero film. I will say though, while all the music is really good, none of it is particularly memorable, and it's unlikely that anything here will really get stuck in your head. The game features some pretty talkable characters. It's funny how each one of them has their own personality and dialect.
Come over here and say that to my face, you ditzy cheerleader-looking pom-pom-headed.
Go scare me, Mama!
Sure, you're fine.
All the voice acting is very high quality, and the writing is quite funny. As characters yammer back and forth, you're sure to smile at least a few times. 101 is a decently lengthy experience, and even after you've completed the main story mode, there are additional multiplayer missions for up to 5 players. Playing alongside your friends is fun, but it's not particularly amazing. In other words, the multiplayer component is really just, hey, we can play missions together, and it really doesn't go beyond that. Each level in the game has hidden power-ups and collectibles to find, so if you're the type that likes to 100% complete a game, you'll find some, decent additional playtime there. You can also purchase new abilities for your team in the Wonderful Mart, and frankly, I think that's kind of necessary if you really want to win. I do think you're getting your money's worth here, but replay value isn't exactly this game's strongest feature. I kind of wish the multiplayer were more interesting. It's okay, but it does feel tacked on. Alright, so the Wonderful 101 can sometimes be, a frustrating experience. The reason for this is because the game demands quite a lot out of you. It's definitely a game that requires patience and a keen eye. If you're not dodging, reflecting attacks, and always getting out of the way of danger, things can become, quite frustrating. At times, the enemies are just kind of too much, and it does seem a bit unfair. If you get attacked, your squad goes flying all over the place in a big naked pile of messiness, and you have to then recollect them. It's kind of annoying. I do appreciate the nudity, but it is annoying to always have to collect them. I do wish the game featured more original gamepad functionality. There are some moments where you'll walk into a building on the TV screen, and then you have to look down on your gamepad screen to see what's inside. These moments are really clever, and I just wish there was more of this. When all is said and done, though, the Wonderful 101 delivers an enjoyable, intense experience. It may sound like a bold statement, but I honestly do believe this might be the most action-filled video game I have ever played. The Wonderful 101 gets 8 explosions out of 10.